story of Russia is a vast and complex tale, spanning over 1,000 years of history. From its early origins in the medieval state of Kievan Rus to the powerful Russian Empire, the revolutionary Soviet Union, and the modern Russian Federation, Russia's history is marked by expansion, conflict, reform, and resilience. Early Russia, Kievan Rus, 9th, 13th century. The origins of Russia can be traced back to the 9th century when Viking traders and warriors, known as the Varangians, traveled along the rivers of Eastern Europe. They established settlements and trade routes, and eventually, the city of Kiev became the center of a growing state known as Kievan Rus. The ruler Prince Oleg, 879 to 912, united various Slavic tribes, creating a strong political entity. In 988 AD, Prince Vladimir the Great converted to Christianity, adopting Eastern Orthodoxy from the Byzantine Empire. This decision had profound cultural and religious consequences, linking Russia to Byzantine traditions. Under Vladimir and his son Yaroslav the Wise, Kievan Rus flourished, developing laws, trade networks, and artistic traditions. However, the unity of Kievan Rus gradually weakened due to internal conflicts among various princes. The Mongol yoke, 13th, 15th century. In 1237 to 1240, the Mongol Empire, led by Batu Khan, invaded Kievan Rus, destroying cities and imposing Mongol rule. This period, known as the Mongol yoke, lasted for over 2 centuries. The Mongols controlled Russia through the Golden Horde, forcing Russian princes to pay tribute. During this time, Moscow emerged as a significant center. The rulers of Moscow, particularly Ivan Kalita, skillfully gained favor with the Mongols and consolidated power. Over time, Moscow became the leader of the Russian lands. In 1480, Ivan the Great, refused to pay tribute to the Mongols, effectively ending Mongol dominance. Ivan III also married a Byzantine princess, reinforcing Moscow's claim as the successor to the Byzantine Empire, which had fallen in 1453. This idea contributed to the notion of Moscow as the Third Rome. The Tsardom of Russia, 16th, 17th century. In 1547, Ivan the Terrible, became the first ruler to officially take the title of Tsar of all Russia. His reign saw military expansion, legal reforms, and centralization of power. However, he was also known for his brutality, including the creation of the Oprichnina, a secret police force that carried out mass executions. After Ivan's death in 1584, Russia entered a period of instability known as the Time of Troubles, 1598 to 1613. Foreign invasions, internal conflicts, and famine plagued the country. In 1613, the Romanov dynasty was established with the election of Michael Romanov, marking the beginning of a new era of stability. The rise of the Russian Empire, 17th, 18th century. Under the Romanovs, Russia expanded and modernized. Peter the Great, 1682 to 1725, transformed Russia into a major European power. He built a new capital, St. Petersburg, modernized the military, and introduced Western customs. His reign saw the Great Northern War, 1700 to 1721, against Sweden, which gave Russia access to the Baltic Sea. In the late 18th century, Catherine the Great, 1762 to 1796, continued Russia's expansion, defeating the Ottoman Empire and annexing Crimea. She also promoted education, art, and government reforms, making Russia one of the great European powers. Napoleonic Wars and 19th century Russia. In 1812, Napoleon Bonaparte invaded Russia with a massive army. The Russian strategy of scorched earth and the harsh winter led to Napoleon's disastrous retreat from Moscow. This victory boosted Russian prestige and made Russia a dominant force in European politics. Throughout the 19th century, Russia remained largely agricultural while Western Europe industrialized. Tsar Alexander II abolished serfdom in 1861, but his reforms were limited. He was assassinated in 1881, and his successors, including Nicholas II, resisted further reforms, leading to growing dissatisfaction. The Russian Revolution and Soviet Union, 20th century. By the early 20th century, Russia faced political turmoil. The defeat in the Russo-Japanese War, 1904 to 1905, and the failures of World War I led to mass protests. In 1917, the Russian Revolution erupted. Tsar Nicholas II abdicated, and a provisional government took power. Later in 1917, the Bolsheviks, led by Vladimir Lenin, seized control in the October Revolution. They established a communist state, withdrawing from World War I and fighting a brutal civil war, 1917 to 1922, against anti-communist forces, the White Army. The Soviet Union, USSR, was officially founded in 1922. After Lenin's death in 1924, Joseph Stalin took power. His rule, 1924 to 1953, was marked by rapid industrialization, forced collectivization of farms, purges, and repression. During World War II, the USSR played a decisive role in defeating Nazi Germany, though at a great human cost. The war left the USSR as a global superpower. The Cold War and Soviet decline, 1945 to 1991. After World War II, the Soviet Union and the United States emerged as rival superpowers, leading to the Cold War, 1947 to 1991. The USSR expanded its influence over Eastern Europe, creating the Warsaw Pact as a counter to NATO. The space race saw the USSR launch the first satellite, Sputnik, 1957, and the first human, Yuri Gagarin, 1961, into space. However, economic stagnation and political repression weakened the Soviet system. In 1985, Mikhail Gorbachev introduced reforms, perestroika and glasnost, to modernize the economy and promote openness. These reforms unintentionally led to the collapse of communist regimes in Eastern Europe. In 1991, the Soviet Union dissolved, marking the end of the Cold War. Boris Yeltsin became the first president of the new Russian Federation. Modern Russia, 1991 present, post-Soviet Russia faced economic hardships in the 1990s. Under Vladimir Putin, who became president in 2000, Russia regained political stability and economic strength, driven by oil and gas exports. However, his leadership has been marked by increasing authoritarianism, suppression of political opposition, and international conflicts, including the annexation of Crimea, 2014, and the war in Ukraine, 2022 present. Today, Russia remains one of the world's most